We continue to preview the 2025 college football season. Our stop today is Helena, Montana, as we visit with Troy Purcell, heading into his 7th season as the head coach of the Carroll Saints. Coach, as always, it's a privilege to get to visit with you. I want to start with 2024, talk about that just a little bit. 7-3, the record for the season. A loss to Montana Tech, actually to bookend the entire season, but one loss there. 7 straight wins, making quite a run through the Frontier Conference. A couple of losses to top 10 opponents at the end of the season. Really, I think that was what kept you out of the playoffs right there, even though the Frontier Conference is always tough and you think there's a chance. But tell us a little bit about your perspective from 2024. 7-3, pretty good season.
Yeah, we've been good. Even the last 2 years, 2023 and 24, we're one game away from being great, getting into the playoffs, getting into the postseason, getting, a shared conference championship or an outright conference championship with a couple of wins there last year. And so, played well up to, certain points of the game and just couldn't find a way to get it done. So on the back of our shirts, it's going to say, level up. It's going to say, we talking about being really good. Now let's be great. So it'll say great on the back, but just I emphasize, we're real close. We're real close to, having great seasons. So 7-3 it's not bad, but it's not where we want to be in this program. And the tradition of Carroll is, that's not the tradition of Carroll. 7-3 is good, but it's not great. So we gotta up the ante there.
I understand, Coach. And there's a lot to that. And so I appreciate your perspective. Jack Purcell, who was a name that, I always wanted to say that he needed to buy a vowel, but also that just a fun person to watch the video and get to read about what he had done and just a fantastic leader for the team. He's expended his eligibility. So that's one spot. Let's start right there. It looks, according to your roster, like that there are a lot of horses in the stable there vying for that position. Tell us a little bit about the spring and who might be stepping up.
Yeah, first of all, Jack did an outstanding job. Unbelievable quarterback, very smart, very intelligent. Could time the routes out better than any quarterback I've ever been around. We're going to miss him around here. So we have, Quinn Stamps will be a senior next year, about 6'4", about 225, 220 right in there. Throws the ball 100 miles an hour, probably the best velocity thrower we have, man. That thing comes out hot. And then we had a transfer student or a player in Caden Hewitt. Caden Hewitt came to us from the University of Montana. Was a local kid here from Helena High School. Big 6'4", 225-pound kid again. He's got good legs on him, can run. And then Holden Carmichael, he was a transfer from the University of Idaho. And then we have Connor Willis also. He's a freshman kid. Now he's younger. I still got 3 years left. And all 4 of them are battling for that position. One day one would rise and the other one would fall a little bit. And then it just kept that balancing or that pendulum, I guess, on who was going to be the guy. So still don't know yet. I got a pretty good idea on kind of where we're moving forward. We're more of a running style quarterback. We're going to do some more, we got to divide the defense better and put, stress defenses a little bit more. Jack can do it with his arms, but we have to be able to do it with some legs also. So all of these guys can run. Some can run a little better than others. Some can throw a little better than others. So probably 10 practices in, next fall camp, we'll have our top 2. Game 1, then we'll figure out. It might be 2 quarterbacks. Usually when you have 2 quarterbacks going, it means you have no quarterback. But I feel good about these guys. These guys are really, all 4 of them. I feel really good about them.
All right, we'll pay attention, especially to the latter part of camp.
Sure.
We'll start looking for the reports that are coming out there. Well, with that in mind, Chris Akulshin is one of those players coming back, and he's been a fantastic player for you to receive some of those balls that may be coming in hot at that point in time. Talk a little bit more about the rest of the offense.
Yeah, Chris is an outstanding guy. He'll be the senior next year. It's the only guy we lose in the receiving core, after next year. So he'll be gone. He'll have 1 more season, but everybody else will be back. So young talent last year, you look at the team that we started out with Jack Purcell, Jaden Lamb, and Tim Sellers. Chris Akulchin and Carson Ochoa. Those are the only guys that had playing time going into game one last year. And so everybody's back. We did lose Perka again, and we lost Lamb and Sellers. But we, I don't know what that is. And then, so we were very young. So we have everybody coming back, which is exciting. Ocho was an All-American at the tight end position. Matt Golick was another tight end that's been playing well. And then Ty Wilkerson came in. He's a big 6'6", about 245, 250 pound tight end. That's playing very, very well. Also as a playmaker. Offensive line wise, we got Andrew Devine. He'll be a senior next year. 6'9", about 230, 220. Out of Alaska, was a basketball player, so he'll be a senior. Now he's got some varsity, reps. Big time. In important games. Ben Larson's another one that's coming back. Ty Henson. Wyatt Sanford is coming back, and then let's see gosh dang, we got some other guys coming up. Tavin McMasters, and then some guys coming in too. There's Forrest Carter, Carter Bannock, some big guys that we ended up. The Forrest Carter young man was a walk-on for the Grizzlies and decided to get into the med. We wanted to get to more of a higher level med program, so he transferred and is playing with us here. So he's got a chance to come in there and make some things happen also. So no, it'll be exciting with the offensive line, tight ends, and again the whole receiving crew is back with Lincoln Holmes is an outstanding receiver in that slot type position. He could probably play both, either way. Gavin Vandenacre ended up having an injury last year, but he's back, looking good. Garrett Stone. Again, the talent there is deep at receiver again this year, but actually having game time experience. Running back room, that was a bug that we got hit on. I've never seen one room decimated so much with season-ending injuries, with surgeries and this and that, with top 4 running backs going out of that room and then spinning some other guys in, and they did a great job also. But it wasn't, it was just one room that got hit, tremendously. So offensively, we got to be able to. We can't be average on scoring points anymore. We have to get above average, get to the top of the conference of scoring points. And so I think option style, running style, quarterback, divide the defense. Now we have, like I said, a whole bunch of game experience with this group on the offensive side. So we need to have great results.
We're visiting now with Troy Purcell from the Carroll Saints here on Midwest Sportsnet, and I encourage you, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. It's really encouraging for us. I'm not exactly sure, Coach, what it does algorithm-wise, but, it's always a good thing. We enjoy talking about small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond. Coach, you talk about needing to put more points on the board. One of the things that I don't know forever. In recent years, when I think about Carroll and football, I do think about a strong defense, and I pitched a couple of shutouts last season as well, and I think the defense is strong and sturdy for you, but you don't want to put all of the weight on them having to carry the load. I completely understand that. Number of players coming back and some more openings too. Tell us about the defense for 25.
Yeah, lots of couple big time players. Excuse me, Hunter Peck. Was the MVP of the conference. He's got a really kind of interesting situation coming up. So the NCAA said you had another year of eligibility if you played. And so his eligibility burnt up here. So I called a friend of mine, Roger Cooper, over at for the Grizzlies at University of Montana, and they like what he showed on film. So he's going to be a Grizzly for a season over there for them. So never happened before. Yeah, he said I would play here if I could, but I can't. So, and I said, hey man, here's a spot. So a great opportunity to go showcase some talent with a lower division player that I think is going to shine at that level also. So it's exciting. It's going to be hard to lose him with his ability to play and also his leadership. He's a very, very high character guy and just an unbelievable person. Garrett Warden was another 6'4", 260-pound kid that was been on this roster for quite a while. He'll be gone also. A backup there was Mason Harwood as a number 2 spinning in. Cam Pruitt was in the stud position that won't be back next year. And so those are the guys that got the most reps out of anybody, that we lost, I guess, coming from last year. So the inside backers, Brett Tomasini, and he was from the transfer from Boise. He's back probably he'd be back for 2 more years. And then Eli Avey was a transfer to the University of Montana out of Laurel. Again, big 6'2", 6'3" guys that can run. So they're kind of the core. The front line has always been what we're probably our best position and the deepest, but I might be in kind of the linebacker room, receiving core, maybe running back now, you know what I mean? So we're developing more depth everywhere, which is good. So it'll be exciting to see those guys come back. Jacob Swetland will be back to us, that position. Jet Boyce out of Lewiston, Montana, has got a chance to get spending some time in there at that linebacker position also. Defensive line, Forrest Saguaro, he started as a freshman coming in, a local kid out of Helena, Montana here. He's got some unbelievable twitch, and he'll be a senior. I'm sure he'll be a captain. He's a leader of that group, so I'm excited to see him come back on the D-line. Denavion Ali from Colorado, unbelievable player, was a basketball guy, really coming into his own right now as a football, D lineman specialist. Rocky Shields came from us from Wazoo. Decided to transfer out there, didn't like what was going on, so he came to us, and he's our big 6'4", 280-pound nose guard there that is a returner guy coming back also. Henry Gross, kind of our stand-up rock guy with Connor Kernow. Those guys are both kind of playing that position and playing it very, very well. And the secondary, you got Brandon Orlandi. He's a hard-hitting dude, man. He's really good. We got 3 more years with this kid. We're playing a little bit of a high defense where we leave a 1 high safety, and sometimes he can put pressure on you. Sometimes Tampa 2, he can cover, and this kid will come down and hit you. So he'll be back this year. And then Caden Hansen out of Dillon, Montana, will be in that secondary also. The couple of corners we got back is Dax Graham. He'll be a 2 or 3 year starter. He'll be a senior. Elijah Larson will be the other corner on the other side. With Jacob Nemechek, will be pushing those guys also at that corner position. So that's kind of the nucleus, the core of the defense coming back, and we again to be expected to be a great defense again this year.
You've mentioned, Coach, a number of players that have experience, well, basketball specifically, and I'm sure some wide bodies. They took up space on the court to be able to play some of the positions you're talking about. Do you look for multi-sport athletes when you're recruiting? Is that something that stands out to you?
Sure. The more times you put yourself in stressful situations, you're up the bat, it's full count, bottom of the 9th. You're going to, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And so more times you can put yourself into that, the more comfortable you can be in that scenario, and the more success you can have. And then also being in sports where maybe you win all the time, you don't know how to lose, as a team, your basketball team's not very good, but your football team is. Well, again, you know how to overcome some adversity and again, put yourself in positions to excel. Be at your best when your best is needed. Coach Sinkovich always talked about that, an old Carroll guy here and Idaho guy and all over. But so it does. It puts you in a position to be at your best when your best is needed.
Okay. So, special teams, Spencer Berger, he'll be a senior this year, 6 for 8 field goals last year, 27 of 29 point after. He's coming back, a member of the special teams unit.
Yeah, Spencer done a great job. Remember that first time he had a start was in Eastern Oregon over there and had to kick 3 field goals and won to win it as a true freshman. So yeah, we need to improve. Again, we missed a couple field goals late in the year that we should be making. So we really got to emphasize And again, like always, but emphasize what maybe a tighter group, maybe going for it on fourth down, or you know what I mean, just the feel of the game and everything. But Spencer's done a great job for us on kickoffs, and Nick Klaus is another person that's doing the kickoffs and PATs and field goals. So those two kids have been battling it out pretty well. So and they are also they're our punters also. So we shortened up our punt game to a 2-step instead of a 4-step. Approach, trying to get some stuff cleaned up and getting that ball out quick. People tend to, send pressure on us. Sometimes they even jump the shield, and sometimes it gets called, sometimes it doesn't. So, but we ended up having a block last year when they jumped it. And anyway, so so it is what it is. So, but yeah, I'm no excited about. So we just those kids coming back, long snapper with Bastrachita. Antonio Bastrachita, he's been long snapper for us, and then Gunnar Gleesman is a short snapper on the the PAT field goal units.
Coach, I've been asking a lot of the coaches this year. I like to get something personal if I can, so I'll ask this question to you as well. Favorite 80s song or band? Favorite 80s song or band?
I'm going to have to go back a little bit farther. I'm going to go with the cover of the Rolling Stones by Dr. Hook. That's an old classic. Every time we have a wedding or anything, all our buddies get together, and that's what we sing at everybody's wedding when it happens. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to go with Dr. Hook with the cover of the Rolling Stones. Or I don't know, Jimmy Buffett's good too, but it's not maybe a rock band. AC/DC's not bad. White Snake, Sammy Hagar, those guys were always heading into practice or heading into a game on the cassette tape, getting your mind right, in high school, spinning it on in. It kind of got the blood pumping a little bit. So it was good.
All right. First Dr. Hook I've had, definitely. Hagar with Van Halen or by himself?
Probably by himself. I don't know. Can't Drive 55. I remember old buddy of mine had a Trans Am, and that baby was blasting in there all the time. So Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, and that brings back a lot of memories.
Okay, I'm curious. And I know some of that stuff still shows up in the weight room too. So wanted to ask.
I've always thought that's clean anymore. You can't play stuff anymore.
Very much a valid point.
Yeah,
much a valid point. All right. Season gets underway in Havre. You get to take on Northern there, and then you go to Montana, or actually you host Montana Tech. You get to go on the road with the expanded Frontier Conference now, and a lot to that. At Dickinson State, September 20th, bye week, October 4th, when you get your first Frontier Conference West game, and that's on the road as well, taking on Arizona Christian. Tell us a little bit about the schedule. It is new look this year.
Yeah, it is. We don't have to play anybody twice, and I think that's the most important part of the East and West, sides of the Frontier Conference, and both sides will have a champion and both sides will have an automatic bid. So it's kind of two different conferences in a way. You know what I mean? We have some crossover non-conference games, but they mean stuff in ranking, for sure, and be able to play, Northern out of the gate at their place and then playing a ranked opponent. It'll be a night game again here, by playing Montana Tech. They'll be ranked. Dickinson will be ranked, and I don't know if Rocky will or not. So, and then that Rocky game will be a night game also. So it's good to get that blood running, and so those games are very, very important to start off the season correctly, and again playing ranked opponents, because everybody knows if you're not ranked early, it's hard to get in there. And once you get in there, then it's easy to get out. And so you got to win early, win in the middle, and win late, because I don't know. It is what it is.
And I think you just described your 2024 season too, because if you're not, it takes so long, and you guys had such a great run, but you just break into whoever's decision of the rankings, get into it. And then, one slip up and they wave goodbye. So yeah, I know what that is. And I think that Rocky game is homecoming too. If I remember that right too. So
yeah, I think it is.
Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us about the season coming up. We're obviously going to follow the Saints this year, a fantastic program to follow, a fantastic team in 2024. And I'm looking ahead to 2025 to follow as well. Coach Troy Purcell, thank you so much, sir, for taking time with us today here on Midwest Sports Net.
You betcha. Thank you, Joey. Appreciate it.